So I have decided that I am going to try and do a series where I go through these Facebook groups, support groups for these for guides that you can buy online, and to answer some of the questions from it, because I often go through there and I try and give as much as I can there just as free advice, because sometimes it can be very confusing for people to try and get information from these places, so I actually wouldn't recommend it at all. So the first one is, hey ladies, what keeps you motivated to lose weight / continue eating healthy, etc. So for me, there are 3 parts to this question. The first one is about behavioural change rather than relying on motivation, and because motivation is very emotionally charged as well, and for one, and it's fleeting, right? So you need to look more about the ways to change your behavior through changing habits, and to go gradually, and to be able to organize things in your day, in your week, and to pre-plan things so that you are able to gradually build on the smaller habits. So there are some really good resources for this. Number one is Tiny Habits, that I found really great. Number 2, there are lots of habit books out there, so I think Atomic Habits is another one. The Power of Habit explains how important habit is in your behaviors, but it doesn't really give you the tips and tricks so much on how to implement it into your life, but still a super interesting read. There are different parts of the behavioral model. One of them is motivation, the other one is ability, and then prompts as well. So there are ways that you can look at your day-to-day habits, and that you already have, and inbuilt new ones as you go along. And this can be anything from whether you decide that you want to start food prepping, or whether you want to start cooking your breakfast in the morning. There are lots of different ways that, depending on who you are and what your situation is at the moment, there isn't just one rule for everyone. As an example, they give in this book, which I really liked, is a girl wanted to start drinking more water, and she started doing it when she watered her plants. So she was feeding the water to the plants, but then also watering herself as well. So there was so it had a relation. It wasn't just random, and that's just a small part of ways you can do it. Right, so the second one is education. So as I always bang on, you need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Otherwise, you're just kind of like spinning your wheels. So just educate yourself on nutrition, like what it is that you need to do, a calorie deficit, macros, the foods that you want to eat, fiber. All these things will have a huge impact and will take the emotion out of what you're trying to do as well. So it's all of these things. Really, you want to you don't have to get emotional about it, because you can be more systematic with your approach, rather than getting upset or thinking that you failed in these situations. Right, so the third one is restricting your food. So when this girl says, like, I need the motivation to eat healthy, it's like, you don't have to eat healthy all the time, and you can essentially eat what you want. So that's just something that, like, restriction is always going to be a no-no, and it's always going to lead to either binges or just on the diet, off the diet culture as well, so that you're never changing your lifestyle, you're always on a diet. So that is my third one. Okay, thanks.